Hello, everyone. This is Mark, joined as always with
Julie.
And this is our companion show to GenreTalk called GenreTalk.
Now, on GenreTainment, we interview writers, game designers, directors, producers, and actors. But with GenreTalk, we are talking genre. We review different movies and TV shows, and it will usually be just the two of us, but we might occasionally have a guest host.
How often we do the show is partly up to you. So if you like this, let us know by subscribing or leaving comments, like it, follow it. You know, if you want to be a super fan, join our Patreon over on patreon.com/Cabot Crossing. For those of you who don't listen to us on YouTube, might not know that Cabot Crossing is our publishing company where we publish novels, anthologies, and we're now also producing GenreTainment, Genre Play, and all sorts of other shows as part of Cabot Crossing Publishing.
Now, today we are talking about Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai. We'll be focusing heavily on the first 10 episodes of season 6, but we're also doing an overview of the whole show because we just binge watched from the very pilot episode to the first half of season 6.
Yeah, we always heard good things about the show. For whatever reason, we never checked it out. I got a chance to watch it, and we made up for that.
Yeah.
First, we're going to try to be spoiler-free in our review. Then we're going to go to spoilers, and at the end, we'll give our ratings. So if you don't want to be spoiled, we'll cue you in to skip to the end. We'll try to put times in the show notes to help with that.
Now, the official synopsis for season 1 is, and I quote, 34 years after events of the 1984 All-Valley Karate Tournament, a down-and-out Johnny Lawrence seeks redemption by reopening the infamous Cobra Kai dojo, reigniting his rivalry with the now successful Daniel LaRusso. The stars are William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence, Ralph Macchio, of course, as Daniel LaRusso, Jolo Maraduena as Miguel, Mary Mauser as Samantha LaRusso, Tanner Buchanan as Robbie Keene, Peyton List as Tori, Martin Cove as John Kreese, and too many more to list right now. This has a really large
and a big cast, yeah.
And I hope I did not ruin any of the names that I just said. So
we're all offended. When you think of martial arts, especially karate, it's not hard to think about the classic Karate Kid movies. Now, I am a martial artist, and those movies, in addition to a few others from Jackie Chan, Van Damme, Chuck Norris, etc., are a heavy part of my childhood, almost as much as Star Trek and Star Wars was. This Cobra Kai show started as a YouTube Red original until getting picked up by Netflix. So how is the show, and how is season 6 faring so far? And season 6 is the final season. Yeah. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, just to give us a rough look at audience feedback, not that Rotten Tomatoes is perfect or anything, but it gives us a rough idea. We see overall 92% a score of critics and 90% of audiences. Season 1 had crazy 100% of critics, which is pretty amazing, and 95% with audiences, which is also really good. Now, currently season 6, which is not complete yet. As at time of this recording, there's still a part 3 to come out. I don't know if that's 5 more episodes, 10 more episodes. I'm not sure how many are planned, but it's not 100% done yet. But anyway, at this time right now, we're at 82% of critics and 78% of audiences. So it's a bit of a drop, but still pretty high for 6th and final season. I think you're always going to see a drop.
Have dropped. Yeah.
But I think you're always going to see a drop no matter what, most shows as the seasons go on. But is it a good series? What do you think, Julie?
This is one of my favorite shows I have seen in a long time. It really is. It has everything you could possibly want in a show. I love it.
Yeah. I think the show strikes an amazing balance between respecting the original movies and bringing back those characters while kind of being his own thing too, introducing new characters. I think some, who watch it might feel it's a little cheesy at spots, perhaps. I mean, we're talking about pretty dramatic stuff for teenage karate.
Yeah, as we kept watching it and the stakes kept getting higher and higher in the series, we just kept looking at each other and going, they do know this is children's karate, right?
Right? I guess you could say the same thing about Karate Kid, right? But I hope not all dojos have this much drama. But I feel like they really turned those 3 movies into like a fully fleshed out universe of characters and settings. And I really appreciate how they took a opposite of what you would expect approach to the show by basically taking the villain from the first movie and making him the
Yes.
lead character and showing his perspective and how he saw Daniel as the villain and everything, but also showing a path for him to grow and change and kind of get over that, to start to get over the failure of that and figure out what he's doing next in his life, basically, and
Yeah.
and showing him being the teacher kind of role for Miguel as a character. And then all
He is a sympathetic character.
yeah, he's a very sympathetic and relatable character. He's funny and an interesting character, and Miguel's great as the new Karate Kid, basically at that point.
Yeah.
And it just continues to grow and grow as the show does, and they have lots of conflicts, personality conflicts between characters, and complications and twists and turns. Yeah, I really think this show could have taught some lessons to the creators of the last Star Wars trilogy, or maybe Star Trek Picard. Maybe could have picked up some tips from it on how to bring back a franchise, make it feel fresh while still respecting the original stories. Because sometimes I felt like with the new Star Wars trilogy, I felt like they really kind of trashed the original characters a bit, gave them some very dark twists, right?
Yeah.
That if you're fans of those characters, it's kind of displeasing. And
Yeah, what they did with Han Solo and Princess Leia, I cannot forgive them for.
yeah, I can almost forgive them for Luke in a way, maybe, but not everybody. It's just too much. And then also with Star Trek Picard, I feel like it almost felt like someone creating a show who kind of like was a little embarrassed by the original show in a way, and thought they needed to make it edgier or something, and draw F-bombs and stuff like that. But TNG is still kind of a family-friendly type show originally.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on TNG, and
I grew up watching it.
yeah, and so I think when you do that, you're kind of like you're taking away that audience or potential audience. And I don't know if it really added anything more to it per se. I don't think
It didn't.
yeah, that's not what makes something more elevated or everything, how many F-bombs you drop in it.
Yeah, bad language does not make something more
No,
interesting.
usually, get carried away, it's usually more crappy, but that's my opinion. If you get carried away with it. With this show, I felt like they did a good balance of respecting Daniel LaRusso and a lot more respect for John, a lot more respect for the villains than I would have expected with Johnny Lawrence and Chosen and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, Kreese is amazing in it. Lots of great stuff for it. Lots of great martial art fun and teenage drama, but also adult drama with Johnny and Daniel and other characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into our spoiler thoughts, I guess.
Okay, good, because I keep trying to say something and then I realize that
yeah, I
it
know.
might be a spoiler.
Hopefully it didn't spoil anything. I don't think so. But now we're going to spoil a bunch of stuff. So go ahead, Julie.
Yeah. So, well, the whole series started out, it was really interesting. There really wasn't one villain. There were sort of random bullies in school that the kids had to deal with. But you had Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso going at each other, but neither one of them is a bad guy. And it was really a big misunderstanding with Daniel LaRusso not realizing that Johnny Lawrence has changed and not given him a chance. So I guess in a way, LaRusso, he wasn't really the bad guy, a big bad or anything, but he was kind of to blame for a lot of the conflict at the beginning, which was interesting.
Yeah, which is flipping it around.
Yeah, they sort of flipped everything on its head. I just thought that was really interesting that they didn't get a big bad until Kreese showed up. And he showed up at the very end of, I think, season 1. And then season 2 is whenever he started doing his thing. Then that he became a unifying bad guy because the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. And so Kreese brought those two together. But yeah, the stuff with the kids and it just crazy escalates until people are almost killed and are seriously hurt and they're breaking into homes and destroying them and just doing all kinds of stuff. And the adults are beating people almost to death. And you just want to say, come on, this is children's karate. What is wrong with you people?
I'm pretty sure Amanda LaRusso says that at some point, I think.
Yeah, I think she does.
she brings like the grounding aspect of like, Daniel, come on. It's karate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, keep it in perspective here.
Keep it in perspective. We have a business to run. We've got a family to raise.
Keep your kids safe, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was great. I mean, the show's about dealing with bullies, empowering yourself, but then it's also becomes about why people become bullies and how some could maybe, how there could be redemption basically for some characters. Because by season 6, a lot of characters who turn into bullies become either friends or less bullies, at least.
Yeah.
A lot of them redeem themselves. We even see like, he doesn't redeem himself, but we understand Kreese's motivations a lot better by this point. And we see like, at least in his mind, why he does what he does. And in a way he means it for the right reasons, sort of, but it's totally warped on his mind. Of how
he thinks he's doing the right thing. He's just batshit crazy.
He's not as crazy as Silver, but
that was my next thing was. And then he gets usurped by Terry Silver, who is so far off his rocker, he was never on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he is just a nutcase of a villain.
And that was great when they introduced him, because you're thinking like, oh, they're going to just redeem all the villains now. They're all mature now and stuff. But yeah, Silver just spirals down to even worse of a villain than he was probably in the movies. It's been a long time since I've seen Karate Kid 3, but I think he's worse.
I haven't seen the one with Terry Silver in it. I never saw that.
I think I only saw it once, a long time ago.
I saw the original Karate Kid, and I think it was 2 when he went to Okinawa.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Where we get chosen.
And yes, where we get chosen. And Chosen coming into Cobra Kai is just a fantastic addition.
Yeah.
I mean, he is great. And his comedic timing, that actor is really on point.
It's pretty funny. He's funny, and he's also adds a lot more to the story.
Yeah, he's still this intense guy that he was when he was younger, but comedically so.
and there were so many twists and turns. Like Robbie kind of became bad for a little bit. Hawk became bad for a while.
I know. I can't believe how bad Hawk got.
Of course, Tori was bad for a while, for a long time.
She's always on the fence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she's emotionally unstable.
Well, yeah, she has a really rough background and a lot of pressure, and definitely got anger issues. Definitely has trouble with her temper, which Daniel LaRusso has some problems with temper too, right? Sometimes. So
yeah,
all their journeys have been really good. All the kids are not kids anymore, I guess. Maybe they were even kids before that. Probably were all over 18 when they first started, most likely.
Well, they're kids to us.
Yeah, to us. I think they do an amazing job, really, helping with the show, propping the show up. I mean, especially, Zolo, Tanner, Jacob, Mary, Peyton. Those are all real solid actors. Yeah. Peyton has her own show.
Who plays Tori Nichols, yeah.
Yeah, plays Tori Nichols. What's it called? High Spirits?
School Spirits,
which we only seen a little bit of. We need to catch up on that, but that was really good.
Yeah.
Zolo plays Miguel. He was in Blue Beetle movie, which we haven't seen yet.
No, we've not seen. That's embarrassing.
Well, it's DC, so come on. I've been burned many times by DC, so I've been waiting until they come on streaming and stuff and watch them when I remember. but he's great, and that was a great role for him. We hadn't watched Cobra Kai yet. I didn't know who he was.
No, he wasn't on our radar.
No.
But he's great as Miguel. Seeing him is starting off as this skinny little kid who just keeps getting beat up and bullied and learning to stand up for himself. That lunchroom scene when he fights off like 5 different attackers, 5 different bullies, And that is so great. And then when the school calls home, they talk to his grandma, and he's like, she's never been so proud. He didn't get in trouble because his mom never found out because grandma stood up for him.
Yeah.
She's great. I love Rosa, his grandma.
Yeah. Yeah, Miguel is really cool. I mean, he's really, if you had to pick one of the teenagers as the star, he's the star.
Yeah.
He's probably the best fighter overall, I think, of them all.
Yeah, I think he's the best fighter that they have in the show.
Yeah, and I think he's definitely had the greatest journey of them all. One of the most shocking parts was when Robbie kicked him off that landing and he broke his back or injured his back really bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty shocking.
That really was.
Yeah. And you're just like, it's teenage karate. Come on, people. No.
I know.
But I was also like, I'm mad at you because you're my girlfriend or ex or whatever. That was a whole bunch of relationship triangle stuff too, wrote up in there. I thought, Miguel has quite the arc. They all have quite great arcs. And
yeah, they really do.
And if it's a little cheesy, sometimes it's counteracted with some really dramatic twists and turns sometimes that really pull your emotions. I think it's a good show. I think it's a great show overall. I think probably why the ratings are a little bit less, at least from audience reviews. I don't know what the ratings, it's so difficult for streaming to know what the views are and stuff. But I would guess season 6 might be less is because they don't have as much relationship drama between the characters as they used to. They're trying to clean that up a little bit, probably because they know it's the last season, right? So it's a little more straightforward. We're in this tournament fighting. They also have a lot of characters, which I've noticed. It's like a lot of characters aren't getting very much screen time anymore because they can't. There's just too many.
Once they get to the Sekai Takai, the ones that were left back home, you don't really see.
No, they kind of disappear. I think if you go to Cobra Kai's Wikipedia page, they're listing I think you consider maybe 13 members as the main cast, and then at least or maybe more than 65 supporting characters.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It is an extremely large cast.
That's hard to juggle that many people. And they introduced some new characters. Even some of the martial art groups that they don't really talk about much are still kind of, they're interesting when they get that big brawl. There's a few really cool martial art characters in there. And then, of course, the Iron, is it Eagles?
The Iron Dragons.
Oh, Dragons? Okay. Yeah, I guess it would be Eagles. That's a Johnny thing. The Iron Dragons, those two main Iron Dragon characters are really interesting too.
Yeah, they are the two captains.
Yeah, the two captains, they made some really interesting characters. And their sensei is pretty dark and definitely a villain.
Evil.
Yeah, and the long-haired dude, I haven't looked him up, but he was a very minor character in one of the Karate Kid movies, which is funny. But they got a little more not comic booky, but a little more straightforward in the drama, which might hurt a little bit. But also, it's the last season, and I think you kind of need to do that because otherwise you're going to risk having major plot threads left open because you won't be able to tie them all together. I also like how the woman, I think she's played by Alicia Hannah Kim. She's the one that's leading Cobra Kai with Kreese. She's pretty good too. I just like that.
Oh, I like her. I love her and Chosen together.
That was pretty funny. That was really well done, I thought.
That was a hoot.
And she's kind of bad, but she's not in the same way as Kreese. She doesn't have this grudge and stuff. And I think she doesn't want anything bad to happen to kids and stuff, which, we have to talk about. We're talking about spoilers. The darkest moment probably of the whole show happens at the very end of episode 10, where someone dies, except in a flashback with Kreese. We've had nobody die during all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you play with weapons.
Yeah. You shouldn't play weapons. I don't feel I don't feel too terrible because the character was kind of crazy and he's the one that grabbed the knife and was going to hurt or kill someone else. So
yeah. And I don't even know that he had any one particular person in mind. He just wanted to go kill somebody.
Oh no, he had the captain from the Iron Dragons. He's who he was fighting. Oh. I think he was, don't get me wrong. But
they didn't have a long time to get a real grudge.
No, but I think he was just so angry from everything, and that guy was in front of him, and they were fighting, and he just wanted to finally, because remember, he got beat up by.
That's what I mean. It's not like he had this long-term relationship grudge against somebody.
No,
that he was going after him with a knife. He just wanted to hurt or kill somebody.
Yeah, he was just angry and wanted to lash out, and Robbie would have made more sense. He would be more angry at him. But
Yeah.
that's the thing with Kreese's method and the negative aspects of Cobra Kai makes a violent person more violent. And that's not good for kids because then they're going to become
No,
very
teenagers are known for not being able to regulate their emotions that well to begin with.
no. So, but yeah, I think the show, I like tournaments and stuff sometimes. So I think they've done the tournament stuff pretty well. They mix it up with different contests and group contests and stuff. I've never seen a martial art tournament do it quite like that. It's an interesting way to mix it up a bit and make sure all the characters are getting to do stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of interesting. To my knowledge, there's no some of these things they do I've never seen in martial art tournaments. It might be kind of cool if they did have some elements of that, but it definitely, this tournament stands out. So
Yeah, it does.
they've been creative with it, and it's going to be sad to see the show go. I wouldn't mind seeing if they ever can get an idea for a spin-off or something. That'd be kind of cool, I think.
That would be great.
I think that's just, they just kind of really wrapped up a lot of the character storylines until like they grow up and have, another point in their life. You could revisit Miguel or some of the other characters. Until you do that, I think at this stage, they've kind of really wrapped things up, and it makes sense to wrap up this show. So
Yes, but selfishly, I wish that it would just go on forever.
I would too, but gotta, especially, they've been playing teenagers for 6 years and or so, and since 2018, right? So yeah, at least, I don't know, how long has the show been on? Is it 2018?
I think it was 18.
And they weren't probably teenagers then, so they're probably ready to move on. Except Peyton List, who's playing a teenager ghost, I guess, or something.
Yeah. Milk it while you can.
So I'm a big fan of the show. I think it's really good. I think it appeals to lots of different people, and it's definitely family friendly overall. I mean, it's got, for young kids, the cursing and stuff might be a little much, but I don't know.
There's some teenage drinking, but they have consequences for their drinking.
Well, there's teenage drinking on every show I ever see, just about. It's not like
I
super
know.
duper family friendly. And I know that it does perhaps happen. Not to me. My mom's watching. But I think when you do have teenage drinking in there, you do have a kind of a responsibility to show that there are potentially side effects. And I think this show does do that. Like when Robbie does, well, actually, Miguel made a stupid mistake, broke up a relationship because he started drinking, because he got drunk.
Yes.
And Robbie did the same thing.
And Sam screwed up while she was drinking.
That's right. Yeah. So they definitely try to show a negative side to drinking too, which I think is important if a teenager is watching it, so they don't think it's just all fun and games. There could be bad things that can happen. And we've seen shows, which we like those shows, but we're sometimes like, they drink a lot on this show, and there's no negative side effects or anything, and they're teenagers.
Yeah.
And the parents and the adults are always like, oh, well, and it's like, I'm not sure if that's the best example, but whatever.
Yeah, there is a little bit more parenting going on Cobra Kai than some other shows with teenagers, because sometimes these shows with teenagers, the parents are like never on screen, and you wonder where the heck the adults are.
Yeah, this show actually does a pretty good job balancing between the adults and the teenagers, I think.
Yeah,
because this show is just as much about this season is a lot more about the kids, I think, but they're spending a lot more time with them. But all the previous seasons, I would say that sometimes they balance. They have just as much Johnny as they do the kids or the adults, which is cool. I think that's a cool way it's like how they do Stranger Things. You can appeal then to older people and younger people. So
yeah.
I think the show would be a lot weaker if I didn't try to do that. And I think that's a great balancing act they're doing too. They're doing a lot of good stuff with Cobra Kai. I think it's a really solid show overall. And
like I loved whenever Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso ended up on a double date together.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good humor and stuff. It might be a little cheesy for people at times, but heck, so was Karate Kid, right? So
yeah,
but that's okay. I think they know when they're being a little cheesy too sometimes, and being a little tongue in cheek about it. So I think the show, and there's some really good martial art fight scenes, and I mean, those kids I'm pretty sure they're doing a lot of those fight moves because they show their faces a lot. So that's kudos on them to do as much as they can. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but let's get real. Sarah Michelle Gellar, some of those moves were not very believable if you saw her up close.
Oh, yeah. She never could throw a proper punch.
She never could, Well, she came from, I think her background was in Taekwondo, which is way heavier in kicks than punching. Their punches they're not on boxing level type stuff in general. So, I'll give her that. Let's say that. But, she probably, these young actors definitely pull off a lot of good moves and stuff. And how many fight scenes they have. There's like a fight scene constantly. My gosh, that big rumble that they had near the end, or I guess at the very end of episode 10 of season 6, right? That was amazing. That was wild, right?
That was incredible. I can't believe they pulled that off.
I know. So many characters, so many fights going on. And he had Kreese and Silver like off in the background going on too. And it was wild. So anyway, lots of good martial arts, lots of good teen drama, lots of good martial art drama. I think it definitely does a great job honoring the original Karate Kid movies while growing it in new directions for new generations. And I think that's what you want from this kind of show. I hope other shows learn from that.
Yeah.
What are we going to rate it? Out of 10 kicks?
I'm going to give it like a 20 kicks.
20 kicks. Okay, 20 kicks.
10 just doesn't do it justice.
I hate just giving away a 10. I feel like, especially since we haven't seen the last episodes of the show.
I don't care. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'll give it 10 too, I think. I think for what it is, as continuing Karate Kid, I think it lands it perfectly. It does a fantastic job landing that and going beyond that. So, yeah, I think that was great. And also keep in mind, we're not done with Karate Kid either, because there's a movie coming out soon with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan did one of those Karate Kid movies.
Where they didn't do karate.
Yeah, they were doing Kung Fu, really. It's kind of weird that Jackie Chan was cool with that. It's kind of insulting a little bit. They'd be like saying they were doing judo. You're doing judo in a Karate Kid movie, or judo or karate in a Judo Kid movie or something.
Yeah.
But whatever. The general audience doesn't know the difference between them.
They should.
They should, yes.
Even I know the difference.
Anyway, there's another Karate Kid movie coming, so it's great. And hopefully they don't just completely ignore Cobra Kai. I hope they at least give some nods to it, and they don't just ignore it. I'm not sure if it's been 100% said, if that connects or anything like that. I don't know, but I hope it does a little bit. Not to the point. I understand they're going to know audiences who watch this movie. Not everybody's going to watch Cobra Kai, right? So you don't want to confuse people. But I hope that they have a nod towards that. So I would love it if
There should be something that ties in.
I hope so. And I would love it if one of the characters made a brief cameo appearance or something. That'd be nice. Ralph's like, I gotta go help Jackie Chan's character, Johnny, take care of the dojo. That'd be kind of fun. So we both love the show quite a bit. You haven't watched Cobra Kai yet, you might want to check it out, especially if you like Karate Kid at all. Then you definitely should check it out.
Yes.
So that's it for now.
Even if you only kind of liked Karate Kid and you haven't seen it since, 1984 or whatever, you still want to check out Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to have watched... I don't think you even need to watch Karate Kid.
No, you didn't need to. They catch you up in flashbacks.
Yeah. You just have to know, this is a kid who was bullied and he learned karate and won a tournament. That's about it. And they'll show you flashbacks.
All you need to know.
Yeah. Which I think most people know that much about Karate Kid.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring this episode to an end so we can work on another episode for all you fine folks out there.
Thank you so much to everyone for listening, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Tell us your favorite parts of this awesome show. And if you do have a different opinion, if you're, wrong and didn't like it so much,
that's okay. You can tell us that, and then maybe someday you'll have redemption.
You can put your very wrong opinions in the comment section. We're interested in those too. And also, while you're in the comment section, if you can think of other movies or TV shows or other things that you'd like for us to talk about here on Genre Talk, just let us know and we might surprise you.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you found us with this episode, you can also hear us interview creators over on GenreTalk, or watch or listen to us play different tabletop role-playing games and also discuss them over there on Genre Play. You can find all that over at either cabotcrossing.com or our YouTube channel at Cabot Crossing. And we make books too, so check out our science fiction fantasy books. We need to make a karate book. There we go. That's what we need.
Yes, we do. And it's Cabot. It's spelled Cabbit, Crossing.
Yep. We'll have links in the show notes. And I think that's a wrap for today's episode. So
until next time. Bad monkey.